Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome back to the drawing board. As always, I am Mohammed Makosaifa, whatever you want to call me. Joining me again is Navraj, who you all have met before, and a new guest today. Wasim, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Wasim.
Short and simple. He's a man of few words, concise. And yeah, you guys probably noticed that Krish isn't here today. He's away. He potentially dead in Navraj's backyard, 4 foot under, potentially in Boston. Time
All
will
right.
tell. And since Krish isn't here today, we're gonna do a little bit of shifting away of the topics that we normally talk about. Normally, we talk about tech and politics and stuff like that. But since Wasim and Navraj and myself are more, well, I mean, Krish is as well, but like I guess we're very media inclined. We love to watch movies, TV shows, animes, and just talk about them pretty often. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that today a little. Um, One thing I want to talk about, well, not really talk about, but I noticed is that AOT, the geniuses
Yep.
behind the anime have decided that season 4 part 2 part 3, oh, sorry, no,
Okay.
season 4 part 3 needs to be split into part 1 and part 2. Thoughts,
How to kill a
guys?
series. How to kill a series 101.
It's insane how Mappa just killed all the hype around it.
Yeah.
You know what it remind what well actually I guess
In
it's not what it
JoJo's
reminds me
Bizarre
of.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean, they did the same crap. Part one was awesome, and then the hype was gone, and then the other seasons rolled around. Then I didn't hear any hype involving that until like the final bit.
It's kind of a trend now, hasn't it? Like, because another film that because we were talking about anime, but there's also an example of a film that had a similar thing going on, which is Avatar: The Way of Water. Like it's been what is it 13 years since the first Avatar film? Like
Yeah.
there's like and no one's talking about Way of Water. People are talking about Puss in Boots. They're not talking about Way in Water.
Yeah, but to be like it is still getting like pretty big though. I think it just passed as the fourth highest grossing movie of all time. I think just the fact that it's like a James Cameron project, that it's Avatar, and the first one was so revolutionary that people are still going out in flocks to see it. But it's similar to the first Avatar in that like it's a social phenomenon because it's just so big, but it's not actually memorable. Like most people, like I remember watching like street interviews a while back. They were just asking people like can you name like 3 characters from the first Avatar? And it was all people who had watched the movie, and they're like, no. It's just like it's like people don't remember. It's a forgettable movie, but it's just like the spectacle, I guess, is what attracts people.
I feel like the amount of because I'm sure that is something for Avatar specifically, but I think for AOT and Stone Ocean, the way that way that both of those were handled, I think AOT was definitely worse because the way that they did AOT, not in quality. You all can't see, but Wasim gave me an eyebrow there. Not in terms of quality. Uh, he and I are not huge fans of the direction that AOT goes in near the end. But since the final season is not out, I can't talk about that.
Yeah,
Um,
right now, the being the AOT fanboy, I
Apologist.
guess, apologist. I'm just hoping that there's an anime original ending. And honestly, considering the fact that what there was like 8 or 9 chapters left to animate, and they're splitting season 4 part 3 part into 2 parts, there must be like some extra thing that they're adding in, no? Like some anime original ending, some
The
twist of the plot, something.
Maybe I don't know. I remember reading somewhere that Isayama was like there was like execs trying to like get him to end it in a specific way because man this because I don't want to spoil, I don't want to like talk about the manga, but like the ending in the manga, it just leaves it retroactively, and
I
like I
mean,
made
we can talk about it. Well, I'll just put a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode
sure
Spoiler
sure
because
sure.
warning.
because
Spoiler
we've
So yeah,
warning.
already.
spoiler warning, and
S-
I assume
skip to this. Skip to this time stamp to miss
Yeah,
all
yeah,
to skip
yeah.
all the spoiler.
I'll the timestamp.
yeah. To let them know like, what timestamp it is. Okay, because I was gonna say the ending of Attack on Titan retroactively shits on the entire story before it.
Yeah, I think it does ruin it, but I don't think it destroys the entire story. I think
I
like
will pull
minimally
out the essay.
no, okay, yeah, but I'm not gonna read this 50 page like
It was like
article, like
150, but
scientific 150 page
yeah,
like
I'm
thesis that
sorry.
this dude wrote,
I have to
right?
agree with Muhammad. I don't know how else they. No matter how he's gonna end
I
it, someone's gonna be pissed at the end of the day.
I think at most it ruins season 4. You know what I mean?
True.
Because at
Yeah,
that point, like Aaron's change and all of his like intentions, actions, everything has led up to like the climax of the ending. But pre-season 3, it's almost a completely different. It's not even. It's like a different show, like
so
different characters, like everything,
so
right?
I suppose we should still explain like like they know what we're talking about with the ending, but
Yeah,
just some context as to why I believe it really destroys a lot of what made AOT really good, in my opinion. First off, it was like a straight up character assassination of Eren Yeager, especially since we know the exact point where he saw the future as well, when he like kissed Astoria's hand,
yeah.
like right after they was it right after they pushed back Bertold and Reno and retake Shiganshina? It was that one, right? Erwin's last charge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right
Or
after
I
that,
don't
right?
remember.
Or was it
I,
before?
I can't
um.
remember exactly, to be honest.
Wait,
What
say that
wasn't it
again,
like?
Navraj. I'm gonna see if I can just pull up the archives in my brain. Go
Wasn't
for
it
it.
right? Wasn't it right after they beat
I feel like it was
the
after because I
Mega
don't
Titan?
remember Erwin being at that ceremony, which means he was dead.
Yeah, no, everyone was definitely dead, but I think it was like even further past that
It
point.
was
I think it was after they beat
It was Rod
Historia's.
Reese
Yeah,
after Rod
exactly. Yeah,
Reese.
it was after they killed
Oh,
Rodriguez.
yeah. It was yes, you're
Because
right. It was
Historia
after
was made like
Rodriguez.
queen or whatever because she was like the one of the like the ones who like
Yeah,
or I can't remember exactly what
and
happened, but
like the whole Kenny debacle. Yeah. It was after Erwin died. Like
yeah.
a good ways. Yes, you're correct. Um, there was that, and there was a line he said to Pikes, which R.I.P. One of the goats.
The goats.
Uh, and it was like Aaron and him were talking, and Aaron said something to him. It was like super early on, but it like the ending kind of just shat on it. Let me see if I can find what it
I
was.
don't know. Either way, like obviously a lot of people say that like AOT like becomes a lot worse because of the ending, and fair enough, it does. But even if AOT only had like 3 seasons and there was some sort of a conclusion at the end of season 3, it would still be like one of my favorite animes of all time, just because of how I think enthralling the first 3 seasons were.
That's fair, and I think in a vacuum they are really good. But one of the things that for me always that sticks with me because it's the last interaction you have with a piece of media is the ending.
Yeah.
So, for example, a series I don't know if you've watched it. I know Wasim's definitely watched it. A Full Metal Alchemist
Let's
Brotherhood.
go!
Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist's ending is probably one of the best endings, like epilogues, that I've seen to a series. Just period. Uh,
Yeah.
Dude, when
it,
they
it
I
all
mean,
fight
it's part of the reason
father.
that Breaking
Oh,
Bad is also so good, right? It's just because the ending is nearly perfect.
yeah. Though there's like a bit of a duality there. Well, not duality, in more so because Breaking Bad's ending is inherently like quite tragic in the way that it
Hmm.
ends.
Yeah.
But like that's part of the charm of it. Whereas like
Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist, for example, because you haven't seen it, but it is like just an actual genuinely happy ending.
Hmm.
Uh, and like a nice little thing. It ties up all the loose ends. You see like all the characters like moving on with their lives after the events of like the finale, and it's all like a nice little hopeful future.
Ellen Wenry, and then the ending credits, bro, showing like
Yeah.
everyone
There's like
together.
yeah, in the ending credits of Full Metal Alchemist, they like added they have little like pictures showing like the fates of all the characters, and
Hmm.
it's a really nice little
So
thing.
it's like a 2000s high school movie. Mr. John
Yeah,
went out to
2000
become the principal of Shortville High.
Oh
high
yeah, I
Three
know.
school high
children died at the age of 89.
high school movie, but you decide to box God incarnated.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like the average like Japanese or like even Korean
Average
stuff.
shonen.
I have a
Average.
question about like how you guys like will rate or not like yeah I guess how you rate or how you perceive how good a show is. Like for me, like sometimes I'll watch a show and know like objectively like it's not good. You know what I mean? Like the character
Mhm.
development is like really like kind of mid. The pacing is like lackluster at times. There's nothing that really stands out, but I still really enjoy it, and because of that, like I rank it really highly. For example, let's just say like JoJo's, right? Like objectively, it's not a good show. I think. I think the character development is very like lackluster. Like who's the guy who makes JoJo's? Forgot his name.
Hirohiko Araki.
Yeah, Araki. Like he doesn't give the characters enough credit a lot of the time. They're way cooler than he thinks they are, and like they're kind of just doing goofy stuff. There's just a lot of the like, especially like see like part two example, which is like one of my favorite parts, or not part two, sorry, part three, which is one of my favorite parts. Even though like the pacing is like objectively horrendous. I mean,
That's
what he's
because you
making
watched it
faces.
and not because you read it.
Yeah, okay, no, yeah, but I'm saying I'm talking anime here, right?
Yeah, I know.
So like
Well, that's the thing. I don't watch
how do
Oh
you
anime,
my
guys
so
do
god!
you guys ever give like any value to what like how objectively good a show is, or do you just say how much did I enjoy this and that's how I'm gonna rank it?
All right, wait. I'm gonna go first.
go ahead, man.
I know my boy Navraj got this, bro. But we all have the like garbage ass show that we can't stop watching, and we're just like, yep, it's a 7 out of 10, even though in reality it's like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
I base my judgment a lot on personal enjoyment, and if I am going on like a solid objective stance, I judge it much harsher than anything. So I'm gonna do my all time favorite show, Gintama. I would never ever suggest Gintama to any anime like person unless they're like, man, I'm so bored. I need something to watch. I'll be like, try Gintama, and that's because the first few like dozen episodes are so horridly paced. It's like going to high school 3 times in a row. It was horrid.
He, he says that, but like it wasn't
as a
even the
One Piece
first
watcher.
dozen. It's like the first. I don't. I read One Piece. I
Hundred
didn't watch
first
it.
100, bro.
It's
Leave me
like the
alone.
first 100
Leave me alone.
episodes of Gintama because I tried to watch Gintama from the beginning, and like I think I got to episode like 25 before I stopped. But to answer your question from me, it's a mix of both. Like for example, I'd say that like Demon Slayer, because I have both read and watched Demon Slayer. I watched it about season one, and then I read the rest of it, and then I started watching it. Um, Demon Slayer is like a 7 out of 10 show at best, like 6.5, like it's above average. And I want to point out, I like when I rate something, I use the whole scale. I don't just, I'm not in American high school where it's like 60% and up is what I'm ranging from. I'm using like from
Yeah.
one being absolutely horrendous and affront to humanity, five being average, and then 10 being like an
A
amazing
masterpiece.
experience.
To be fair
Masterpiece,
though,
bro.
even when people use letter
Closest to a
grades,
masterpiece
they
as possible.
when people use letter grades, they do really mean on a 1 to 10 scale. Like somebody giving a show an F doesn't mean that they rank it at 50%. They're saying it's like a 10%. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So just going off of that, like Demon Slayer, it's like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like at best, it's 7 out of 10. But I still really enjoyed Demon Slayer, even though it's like a completely generic shonen. The fact that like for whatever reason I kind of enjoyed that charm to it, which is funny because I don't like Jujutsu Kaisen, and that's like the most shonenest shonen of like the new era. Um,
Um,
at
I'll
least
get
the
you
parts
back
that
on that
I
one.
read, because I know there's like an arc that like really deviates from all that, and I considered like rereading it. But to talk about my personal favorite manga of all time, it's very difficult, but I'm gonna have to give it to Golden Kamui. Um,
Oh,
Yeah,
based.
yeah.
now we're pulling out the real weeb shit.
What do you mean
What?
weeb
My
shit?
favorite anime
Golden
is
Kamuy is
Golden Ka.
pretty
It's
popular, actually.
Oh, okay.
no Golden Kamui is set in a in our world. It's a historical one. It's set in 1905. It's like right after the Russo-Japanese War, and it follows a war veteran named Sugimoto the Immortal, who he's based off of a real person, uh, and it's just the meme is he cannot die, uh, and a an Ainu, which the Ainu are like natives who live on Japan, like the native people, the indigenous peoples of Japan. Their treatment was not much better than our own. A Ainu girl named Asurpa, and it's essentially like a Japanese Western where they are trying to collect these tattoos that are on. I think it's like 32 escaped convicts, uh, and the goal is to collect them all and use it as a map to get to this large amount of gold. And it is like amazing. It's got great characters. It's got great. I don't want to say world building
Wait,
because it's
so
not a. Yeah, go ahead.
what like if you had to choose between like because I mean Wasim and you watch or read manga, I've never read a manga. Like if you had to choose between like one piece of media to consume for the rest of your life is between manga, anime, just like regular novels or like TV shows like Breaking Bad style, just like
Um,
regular TV shows. If you
prob-
had to choose one, which would it be?
Probably like manga because it's for me, the most manga I read not only just communicates the story better, and there's I don't know, it just communicates the story better, and on top of that, for anime, it's I don't know. They usually like mess up something. Usually for like the animation, maybe it's the music and all that. So maybe sometimes I don't have time to just sit down and watch a full 20-minute episode. But with manga, I can just read it anytime, anywhere, and I
Yeah.
just get the raw enjoyment.
Hmm.
I agree
Roger,
for
you
the
say the same.
same reasons. Yeah. And also I find that like usually the art depicted in specific manga is actually much superior to an animated format. Just look up anything by the late and great Kentaro Miura and and oh, what's his name? I can't believe Yusuke Murata. Yusuke Murata and Kentaro Miura have some of the most amazing art, and also the creator of Vagabond. His art, like the guy who made Vagabond, he drew it. He drew it all by hand. Takahiko Inoue, but
I mean, even
his
like One Punch Man, I've heard has a really good
mhm.
drawing as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
Takahiko Inoue is probably the best like artist I've seen in terms of like manga, and he'd rather instead of writing his like cool samurai historical piece, he'd rather write about like disabled people playing basketball. And you know what? I respect the hustle.
Yeah. See,
I sent you
I don't
an image
really.
of the art, by the way.
Yeah, I'll probably pop that up on the screen for the listeners here. Um, But yeah, like I see, I don't really get the appeal of anime or not anime, the appeal of manga as much. Like, because for me, like a story isn't complete without. I mean, obviously, there are visuals in manga, and like oftentimes there's a lot more impressive than they are in anime. Like, if I had to choose one, just to answer my own question, it would definitely be like just regular like TV shows, like Breaking Bad, Money Heist, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just because like I think the cinematography uh in combination with like soundtracks in combination with story is more powerful to me as a storytelling tool than just like text and like visuals. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a manga can never have a soundtrack as good as Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones or whatever, right? It can never have but like a TV show can always have or could potentially have um a storyline as good as a manga or the best manga could. That make sense?
I don't know.
I
I kind of
suppose,
just
but
use my. Oh, sorry.
oh no, no, no. All I was gonna say, I was gonna reiterate your point earlier that you made about time commitment. Like that's just the big thing. I don't have enough time to consume a lot of like TV and movie media at the rate that I used to. Whereas with like a couple chapters, like I could probably like get through maybe like 10, 12 chapters of a manga in half an hour, relatively easily.
In one anime episode, I can get through 2, 3 episodes equivalent.
Like you
Yeah.
joked about One Piece earlier, but like genuinely, if you read One Piece, also I think it's not good anymore for reasons that relate to the plot. But
Welcome to
One
the light
Piece,
side, bro.
what
You've
okay,
Fuck
escaped
you.
Tartarus.
no, no, no. Look, everything up to like the Paramount War, like up to the end of the Paramount War in One Piece is amazing. It's super good. It's like peak shonen storytelling, like the pinnacle of what a shonen should be. But the stuff after it is just like it's like a
Yep.
slow descent, and then once you hit Wano, crashes. Um, uh,
Yeah.
the the thing is though,
No,
like if you
honestly,
read
like
One
fair enough.
Piece, you
But
can get through it
I
pretty
think the time
easily.
commitment is still like I just don't see it. Right? I don't think
Actually,
I
I
would.
was gonna add one more thing. You don't understand the power of just the human imagination, you moron.
That's true.
No. But the thing is,
Nah, nah.
why would I want to
No,
imagine it? No, like as somebody who's like really into like filmmaking and like being able
bro,
like and photography and stuff, right?
bro.
Why would I imagine it when
Your
I can just
imagination,
see it?
your imagination never fails you. Okay, boom. I'm reading Vagabond, right? Oh my god, this guy has my ideal. This is what I want this guy to sound like. Ideal voice acting. Cling, clang, 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 clang. Oh man, the trays are going insane. I can and the panels are laid out so beautifully, and that's why I love like manga kind of more than anime because sometimes an animation
Paneling,
just to
yeah,
save
paneling.
to save like money and maybe it's just too hard to animate because human limitations they just do jump cut jump cut jump cut here it's like it's laid out so beautifully it's like zoom 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 zoom.
My
No,
my
I think I'd probably agree with you on the anime versus manga take. I'm still not gonna read manga, but like if like I think objectively probably manga is a better storytelling tool just because of how much worse anime is in a lot of
Uh,
regards, right?
I
But
was
I
also going
think
to
compared to
mention.
like TV shows, yeah, go ahead, Niraj.
Yeah, so sorry. I didn't want to move too quickly because I did want to mention his point on paneling because I don't know if you're aware of this, Mohammed, but there is some crazy stuff people do with the panels and like the manipulation of the panel space in the manga that really makes it a different experience than anime.
Dragon
Like
Ball Z is like a
Dragon Ball
key.
Z, yeah,
You
is
cut
one
out
of the
there,
ones that.
Niraj.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that
Can you hear
paneling
Busha?
has. Uh, I think he responded to what I said,
Yeah.
so I assume he can hear me. Um, but I was just talking about
Hello.
how paneling. Yeah, hello.
I can hear you, Muhammad. Can you hear us,
I
Muhammad?
don't think
Oh,
he
Say
can
ara
hear us.
ara. All
I'm
right.
back.
So Navraj, let's continue this conversation.
Uh,
I'm back. Sorry.
okay, you can hear us. Okay, I was gonna say, you like Dragon Ball does this really well, where it like with the way that it uses panels, because there'll be points where people are like breaking through panels into other ones through like transitions. There's bits in like Berserk where like panels get like cut through or broken, and it's super cool with the way that they
No, no,
interpret it.
no doubt. Like I think there's like definitely a lot of cool expression and a lot of cool storytelling techniques that you can utilize with like on written paper that you can't necessarily in like a visual in like a purely visual form, like in like a regular like camera shot TV show. But I still think for me at least, maybe like everybody's different in this regard. Like it kind of probably depend on how strong your mind's eye is as well. But for me, I would much rather just see it actually being played out with cool cinematography, cool shots, good voice act or just good acting in general, good soundtracks that all like come cohesive to tell a story, then have to imagine part of it. But I guess like fair enough if
Nah,
you
I was
guys
gonna say
disagree.
soundtrack. For my opinion, like that's the one thing you don't really get in manga unless you're like listening to music in the background. But that also kind of ruins the immersive experience. So this is where I'm thinking like where I sometimes like lean towards anime. Like for example, let's see what's a I'm just gonna throw in Dragon Ball again. Let's use the Dragon Ball example, right? That in terms of like the animation, all that like the manga was like the manga. Sure, it's not animated obviously, but it just flows way more cleanly. But
And it is like superior quality in terms of its
yeah,
art as
but the
well.
soundtrack, this is why people love Dragon Ball as a kid. I think like the soundtrack was crazy. Like Goku versus Frieza, you got the suspenseful theme, like bum 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 ba da da da, and then they're just like fighting. It's
Are you talking about the Bruce Falconer tracks?
I was talking about the Japanese soundtrack and the Bruce Falconer tracks. The
That's
Bruce
fair.
Falconer tracks are superior, I think.
I tend to agree. Like the Final Flash theme, like when you see that moment in Dragon Ball, it's crazy. Have you heard any Bruce Falconer tracks, Mohammed?
No, I haven't. But I
It's
kind of understand what you mean in terms of how, like, I've discovered this recently, or like rediscovered it, I guess, is how powerful music is at eliciting emotions. Like, I tweeted it out a while ago. That I was watching The Boys, and there was this one scene, I believe it was with Homelander and with Brute. And what was his name? The guy with the black hair?
the Black Noir.
No, no, the guy with the
Oh,
black
black
hair.
hair. Which? Okay, you're
What's
gonna
his
have to be
name?
a bit more specific.
The main character, dude.
A
The guy who
Huey.
takes. No, not Huey.
Oh,
Huey's like.
Butcher.
Yeah, Busher. I'm so bad with character names, but yeah, it was with whatever the scene was. But the music that was played there, I felt it was so perfect. I literally went and looked it up on YouTube, and in the comments, somebody had written, you're enjoying what's it called? You're enjoying a peaceful dinner with your family. A shame if the light starts flickering. And I tweeted it out, and Chris was also commenting on it. I was like, how perfectly like that sentence captures the emotion that's portrayed in that song is like kind of crazy. And it's like it's very difficult to do that with anything outside of music. Like I think there's nothing else that captures emotion as well as music does.
Well, that's fair, and also I have my own example of this actually, in terms of like music theory and music having a lot of meaning behind it. There is a I don't know if you're aware of this. There's this anime called Death Note,
Yeah.
which has a banger soundtrack, and one of the tracks it's L's theme, and there is are we all aware of the term
Oh yeah.
leitmotif?
I'm
Yes.
not. No.
Okay, a leitmotif is essentially it's a recurrent it's a theme that is associated with a
Oh okay.
particular person or
Got
like
it.
an idea or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah it's like a leitmotif. So
Got
L's
it.
leitmotif is like the piano that
Yeah.
that bit
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah.
that piano is L. And if you listen to Kira slash Light's theme, you hear you know the guitar.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I can't remember how to do it off the top of my head, but
I know
yeah.
what you mean. Yeah.
So throughout the L's theme, you can hear the piano start off very slow and steady, and that's supposed to be like L starting to get interest in the Kira case coming into it, and you hear it start to pick up, and like that's supposed to reflect all of the shifting and turnings of the case with the FBI agents and like the back and move chess moves, and then in the middle of the theme, a guitar gets introduced, and that guitar has the same leitmotif as Light's theme. So then it becomes this like clash where the guitar and the piano are trying to overtake each other in the composition, and it's an amazing theme. And then at the end, the guitar eventually like blares out in this final like triumphant beat, and you hear the piano slowly like
Fade
simmer
away.
down, and then eventually just suddenly stops,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
reflects.
the soundtrack and music design of Death Note is just like immaculate. Just
Well, that's why I think it's so good. Like I think Death Note, like already I think Death Note is a solid like 9, 10 out of 10 in that range of series. Like the Death Note soundtrack is what
pre
pushes it
pre
above that boundary for me.
I would say pre L Death. I agree. Post L Death, I think it's
That,
not
You
as
are
that's
good.
so
true.
facts.
That
This
is
guy's
true.
spinning,
That's
bro.
true. Well, I think the manga ending was better than the anime one. They did
Yeah, I
change it.
don't. I don't think I read the manga, dog. I don't
Uh,
remember.
I only read the ending, and I guess I mean, spoilers for Death Note. I mean,
Oh,
it's been
skip
out
to
for
this
20 years.
timestamp.
uh,
Yeah,
so in the manga ending of Death Note, Light is way more of a pathetic piece of trash. Where he like at one point starts like crawling to Ryuk and begging him to kill the guys in the warehouse, and then Ryuk
yeah,
is the one who kills him, like right there in front of them all, and that's the end of the story. And I liked it a
yeah.
lot more than like what they did with trying to make Light a super tragic character, because like his, I mean he
How would
is,
that
but
even work? Like, like just character wise. I mean, like, it sounds like it makes more sense, but I'm just trying to like think about it more. Like, how does that work between like Ryuk and Light's like dynamic? Like, how does that finish out the character
because
arc?
so what it was is Ryuk went. This is like I'm pretty sure this is like close to the exact dialogue. Ryuk was like, because Light asked him, Ryuk, please kill them, write their names in your Death Note, and then Ryuk went, oh okay, I'll write down a name, and then he like
Mm.
opens up his Death Note, starts writing, and he goes, you know, Light, I really was expecting you to find a way out of this like you normally do. But if you're asking me for help, that means that you've lost completely. And I don't feel like waiting around in a jail cell for you to get old and die. So that's why he wrote Light's name in his notebook, because
Wow.
Light asking Ryuk for help is an admission that Light has lost because he can't do anything any else.
What an L.
Mm.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. I just love media in general so much. It's honestly amazing.
Nah, we gotta. Nah, if we're gonna talk about good media, you gotta talk about the bad, the bottom of the
Okay,
barrel.
all right. I got some stuff for this. If we want like
All right, let's
bad
start. No, let's
things.
start with Muhammad with his with the Western median takes. Let's start with
Well,
Muhammad.
I was gonna talk
What
about
what
Western
Western
media
media
as
take?
well. Like
When have I?
bad Western media.
Okay,
I mean, yeah,
so
there's plenty of
let's
bad
hear.
Western media. I
Nah,
I think the worst movie I've ever like actually fully sat through is what's it called? It was basically like it was Jaws, but like worse in every way possible. Oh my god, what was it called? I need to find this. Yeah, I'll keep talking.
Um. All right. Well, while he's looking, I was gonna talk about like more topical stuff. Like now, for example, the Velma show is a hot pile of garbage. um,
Yeah, it
what
was
among
is
called
other
The Meg.
things. Oh yes, I've heard of that one. I saw
Yeah,
like a
The
trailer
Meg
for it.
is
And went, this
it's
looks awful, and I
genuinely
didn't
the
go
worst
watch
movie
it.
I've ever. Like there's very clear how's it called? Allusions toward like what's it called? What was it? Jaws, but like they just do everything worse somehow. Even though like I never I like I didn't think Jaws was that great to be honest. Like maybe bad
Mhm.
take, but like I just thought like oh it's fine. Maybe cool
no, Jaws was
cinematography,
an
whatever.
alright movie. It
I
was
mean
an
it was
alright
fine.
movie. There
Maybe it
was
was just so
nothing to write
old.
home about,
Yeah,
but like,
maybe it was just so old that like I couldn't enjoy it. But
but you got to remember, like during the time, like there is a reason why that I forgot how to what the film actor was called, the film director was called, but he was extremely popular for in time with his cinematic techniques,
even
you know.
Spielberg, yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, so in that time he was like, holy shit, man, fucking Jaws was the
Well,
shit, man. Like I'd never seen a movie like this. But
Yeah.
like if you look at it now after watching like, especially watching, I think the best piece of Western media, which is Avengers Endgame.
I think
Hey
Endgame's
man,
better.
I don't watch a
Uh,
lot of. Hey man, I don't
Infinity
watch.
War,
yeah.
in my opinion, is
I
better than
mean,
Endgame.
Infinity War is very good, but there's
Oh,
definitely
dude,
movies
I
that are a lot
forgot
better.
about Infinity Wars. I ain't gonna lie.
Wait, Wasim, have you watched like the generally known like good like Western movies like Interstellar? Like not even
I
like
don't
these are
like
not even that famous,
Interstellar.
but like,
I
I'm gonna
think
be honest.
that
My
movie made me sleep.
oh wow, okay, that
wow,
made me
never trying to
cry.
make watch your one show one
Like
day.
Uh,
I actually slept throughout the
the
movie.
in my
Now,
opinion, I
now,
think
now
the
that's one of the worst takes I've ever heard. That's the worst take when AOT was good after part 4. That's crazy.
um
Maybe, but
uh,
you got to remember, I was like middle schooler. I was like
oh,
off
I
my shit.
see.
Fair enough, fair
For
enough.
me, the movie that I think is probably the best one that I've seen in the West, it's between 12 Angry Men and Schindler's List, and I think Schindler's List wins out on that because the ending of Schindler's List broke my heart. It was like that movie elicited such a response from me, especially when it came to like the portrayal of like the Holocaust that like uh, you know it like evoked like actual emotion. I cried at the end of Schindler's List. Like it was such
Yeah,
a sad like a
the,
sad ending.
those are both on my list.
Yeah.
There's another. I still need to watch Whiplash, The Godfather. One that I watched recently. It's like fairly famous if you're into the whole like mob lifestyle movies. It was The Departed, which I thought was amazing.
Dude,
There's
what was that movie with the guy that worked at a bootleg Walmart? And you were like stalking that family, and he was stalking that one kid. He was like giving him like an Evangelion toy. That movie was crazy. I think
Talking about, bro.
I'm gonna look it up. Give me a second, guys.
sure. I was going to talk about oh man, I lost my train of thought there. There's a film that I was going to talk about because
Oh,
when
1 hour photo.
I have never heard of
I've
that.
literally never heard of that. Yeah, this is the most niche show around
What?
here.
Let's
Uh,
not show it's a movie.
How have you of all Western media that you consumed, you somehow find the most niche random movie to ever watch? That's crazy.
It wasn't that niche.
That's
It was free on
absolutely
like
never heard of that.
HBO.
Oh, that's well, HBO is not exactly primetime television, bro.
Hey
uh,
man, it
Oh,
is what it is.
you guys heard about Netflix making it so? I mean, they went
oh, the
back on it a
Oh
password
bit, but
sharing
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
that's funny, bro.
they like backtracked. But what do you guys think about the whole shifting away from theaters and everything is becoming available on a streaming service transition of media
People
consumption?
are still gonna go
I'm
to theaters.
indifferent. Yeah.
People are still gonna go to theaters. Oh wow, a new movie released. Let's go to theaters because it's like the traditional classic way of enjoying new
But
stuff.
but the problem is not like people don't want to go to theaters. The problem will be like companies will stop releasing certain movies in theaters because they know they can make more money if they just entice people to buy their streaming service.
That's true, and I mean, like I said, I'm pretty indifferent to it. And Netflix backing off, and it reminds me of the LG L or yeah, the LGL.
See, I'm not indifferent to it in terms of like if we ignore pirating, it's basically impossible to
You know,
watch all of the shows that you want to watch.
Or sorry, the
Like
call me the
if
Pirate
OGL.
King, dude. Call me the Pirate King, bro.
I mean,
Not
yeah,
the
like
LGL.
everybody pirates, but like if we take it from a I don't know, like a legal standpoint to like what you should be doing or like what the correct method of like watching all the shows would be, it would be buying every streaming service and then buying and then watching the shows you want to watch from those service, which is like, I mean, it's idiotic, right?
Well, yeah, and
Sorry,
I
bro.
also find like streaming services encompass everything that I think is wrong with exclusivity and monopolies.
Hmm.
It's also why, like, for example, I know for a while I was kind of annoyed at like Spider-Man PS4 being a PlayStation exclusive. Uh,
Hmm.
and then but like the difference between a video game and a film slash TV show is the video game is just a one time purchase, whereas the film slash TV show you need to get the streaming service where it's exclusive to. So Sony, after a while, like after like I think it was 2 years, they released it on PC, which of course they would. Why wouldn't they? There's so many people on PC who want to play the game, and like they're not
Yeah.
selling it to people on PlayStation anymore. So why not? Like the incentive of PlayStation was just you get to play it before them. which is
Yeah,
still a huge incentive.
it makes sense for them not to release on Xbox because they're directly competing with Xbox. But like
Yeah,
PCs and consoles aren't really competing in the same. Like people who want to get PCs are just getting PCs. They're not like thinking, oh, PlayStation or Xbox.
yeah. It's it is annoying though. I will admit, like the fact that like, oh, I really want to watch what I think I only have Prime now. I lost like I don't have Netflix anymore.
Yeah, so you want to
Uh,
watch like Kaleidoscope or something, which is a Netflix exclusive that just dropped. Then it's like,
yeah,
oh, am I gonna
it's
go buy a Netflix subscription for a month just so I can watch this show? Like, come on.
yeah, like oh, I want to watch the Castlevania sequel that they're putting on Netflix, the Nocturne, but I don't have it. Do I? So am I going to get a Netflix subscription just to watch that like show? And of course like
And the thing
piracy is
is,
a
you
thing.
can't really stop it either, right? Because like people are either A, just gonna pirate, which is what most people are doing, right? Or sorry, no, what was my point? Okay, my point was you can't stop these companies from doing it because like obviously they want to make as much money as possible, and it doesn't make any like there's no economic incentive for them to just release it to every platform when they can entice people to buy it on their own platform, right? Because
Yeah, it's
like how much like do you think they would? I mean, they must not be, but like they might. Like, do you think they'd be making more money if they like released it to every platform and like just got royalties from the amount of people that watched it?
mm, I
I'm gonna
think
say no.
Probably not, right?
I think for the individual production, yes, but for the overall, no. Like,
Mm,
for example, I think if you put She-Hulk, and sorry, that goes both ways. If you put She-Hulk on like broad, like a broad array of like publications for you to watch it on, publications,
yeah,
broadcasters for you to watch it on, I think
yeah,
the ROI on that would be dog water. Like all like that the like like Marvel would like have to do like a budget cut or something because of how much money they sunk into that. But
yeah.
because of like the safety net that is a streaming service, it's a lot easier for you to produce all of those shows. Which, like my opinion of the MCU is that all of the Disney Plus shows are trash. I've yet to find one that I actually liked.
Yeah,
Um,
so the beginning ones were bearable, I think, some of them. Like I watched the Loki show. I watched WandaVision. I think those were like decent enough.
I think they're garbage, hot
I mean,
garbage.
they weren't good, but they were okay compared to like the newer ones. Like She-Hulk is not, it's not even a TV show. That's just a parody of bad content. Like it's ridiculous how
Falcon and
bad
the
it
Winter
is.
Soldier, where Falcon looks
See,
at this.
yeah, that one also was bad, but like, again, I think it was bearable.
What do you mean? He was defending terrorists.
I mean, yeah, but like Marvel has been
Do
defending
better,
terrorists.
Senator. Do better. I'm not going to tell you how to do your like what you should be doing better. Just do better. Like it tried to have this like faux political commentary, and it failed to offer any real solutions. And like for example, in that show, I thought John Walker was the best character in that show. Like
Who's John
like
Walker again?
he's the U.S. agent. He's the one who was like replaced Captain America, and then he like
What was good about him?
hmm? He was a
What was good
character.
about him?
That and like he actually okay. So there's a bit. Like I'll lay out the events first, and you'll understand why I like him more than like the leads. Okay, so Sam Wilson gave up the shield to the U.S. government. He gave it to them. He gave it back to them. So like of course they're gonna want another Captain America. Captain America is like a symbol of unity, and in the time of the MCU where like 3 billion people just spawned out of nowhere, you probably need a Captain America right about now. So yeah,
Sure, yeah.
they give it to John Walker, right? John Walker is nothing but cordial with Sam and Bucky, and they treat him like dog water. They don't even bother to give him a second thought. And then people get really uppity at him when he killed
No,
that guy
because
with
no,
the shield,
it's because Captain America didn't want Sam Walker to have the shield. He wanted what's his name?
John Walker. Yeah, yes, and
Yeah,
I
he didn't
know
want John
that,
Walker to have the shield.
but why take it out on him? Bucky and
But,
Sam
but,
treat him like garbage. That's not his fault. He didn't ask to be Captain America. He is doing it because he thinks it's a genuinely
but
like good thing.
he's still accepted the mantle, knowing that it's not what Captain America would have wanted.
Well, what? How would he possibly know that?
What do you mean? Like, because Sam Wilson had the shield before him, Falcon, whatever.
Yeah, Steve Rogers gave it to him, and then Sam Wilson gave it to the U.S. government. How does that? How would John Walker go? Oh, that means
Oh,
Sam Wilson must
okay.
have
Sorry,
been his
I'm
replacement.
I forgot the plot. Sorry.
Yeah, Sam Wilson gave it to the U.S. government. The U.S. government then gave John Walker the shield, and then
Mm.
people talk about when he like killed that guy in the street, and like yeah, it was a bad thing to do. He was unarmed, but I also want to point out the person he killed was a super soldier who could snap his spine if he had the chance, and was actively trying to murder John Walker moments before. And killed his best friend, and they are actually, in the most literal sense of the word, terrorists in that show. Like
Yeah, well,
they are.
I don't remember the show good enough to honestly debate any of this. But one thing that I do remember is how like honestly appealing Bucky's entire character arc was. Like I thought the Winter Soldier and him having to go back to all the people that he had killed and like especially that
Oh, that was
one
good.
old right. Like, I
Yeah,
think
that
that
was
made
good.
him that was a strong character moment. And also like even with Sam Wilson, like his sister and like dealing with financial struggles and
Okay,
like
but all right.
seeing that side of American life.
I
You know what I mean? I
so
thought that
I
was all good as well.
so I hate doing this, but how the hell is Sam Wilson, Avenger, having problems with finances?
I don't know. Like maybe the Avengers are not getting like compensated as they should. But like either way, we know like the material reality is shown to us, and then like seeing how like uh I guess like disenfranchised Black families within North America. I thought it was a good political commentary. Like
I
it
think it
wasn't
was
too like
garbage. I'm sorry. It was bad. It failed at its best.
what about it? What was bad about it?
Oh my goodness, you're gonna need some more time. Okay, so I will start with the portrayal of well, actually no, let's first start with the portrayal of the, oh, what are they called, the Global something Council, Global Repatriation Council, or whatever they are. Okay,
Yeah,
so this body in Falcon the Winter Soldier, this body was created as a multinational organization with the intent to deal with this insane crisis where the Earth now can no longer does not have the infrastructure to support this huge population coming back, and it
yeah. No,
also has to deal with.
yeah, just get to the point.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so right, these individuals are then treated as villains and fiends by Carly's group, who, if you just even if you take away that, like, we don't see their actions beforehand, in the final episode you see them like trying to beat the crap out of John Walker to get him to drop a car full of innocent people. They're plotting bombings, assassinations, they use intimidation. They're not good people, yet the show
Yeah.
attempts to coerce you into sympathizing with them throughout the course of the story. And also the
No, it's
sheer.
but no, but like yes, obviously they're not good people, but at the same time, like the show is attempting to like to illustrate how or like what resorts people will go to in a time when their like social and economic basic needs are not met, and like what leads people to doing those things. Like for example, if we look at like I don't know like Afghanistan, yeah, the Taliban aren't good people, obviously, and they're doing like terrible shit. But like what led them to result like what material conditions led them to behave in this way?
Yeah, but the show tries to absolve them.
It doesn't try to absolve them. It tries to
I,
make you sympathetic. It never tells you these are good people. It just like shows them doing things that have potentially like some sort of intention behind it, right?
I disagree. The problem, I like the fact that like car okay, so here's the thing, I guess. The fact of the matter for me, it's the way that Sam, the protagonist, interacts with Carly, the antagonist, and her group, that makes me feel like that
So
if
so
that's what
like
they
what?
were
So like
trying,
he
failed
he's being
miserably.
cordial, yeah. Like he tries to like sympathize with her and like, ask her like what she needs or like I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly
my
what he does, right?
problem is that he's doing that with someone who is a thief, a murderer, a
Okay,
terrorist,
okay, yes.
all things that, like, she does
That
not have
this
any redeeming qualities. I don't care about her reasons. Like,
what do you okay,
yeah,
this is okay, I'm being like this is not a very leftist take, Navraj. Like this
what?
person their
Just
terrible material
because
conditions led them to behave in ways that are not like politically
that
and
doesn't
socially acceptable.
absolve them
No,
of
I'm
their
not
of
saying
their
it
crime.
absolves them, but he never tries to absolve them. He just tries to like be like cordial and see where she's coming from and try to lead to a solution where like their needs are met at the same time where justice delivered.
He does
See,
not
there's a lot of
offer that
buzzing
at
in the
all.
background.
When you because he actually has an opportunity to speak to an individual who's like a congressman who's a member of the like repatriation committee, and his only solution to their problem is do better. He doesn't offer them any actual like tangible solutions. The Global Patriation Council is doing the best job they can. Like they are trying. Like Sam is not doing anything to make the situation better.
Okay, but okay, the global repatriation, whatever, they're not exactly like a helpful group. Like what? They're
What do
just
you mean
sending
they're
people.
not helpful?
Okay, well, they're basically just like setting up like what refugee camps are coming. I can't remember what they're doing, but it's not like you know.
The Global Repatriation Council? They
Yes.
that is not what they were doing. They were doing like because okay, so first off, all right, let's talk about the blip in the MCU. Okay, you've got like maybe like 7 billion people disappear out, or not 7 billion, sorry, 3.5 billion people disappear out of existence. They
Yeah.
reappear
Okay.
5 years later, right? Okay,
Yeah.
their homes. They're not their homes anymore. There might be new people living in them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Their
I get
loved
it. I
ones
get it.
moved
I get
on.
it.
All that. Yes, yes,
Sure.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've got an organization who has inherited 3 billion people that needs and it needs to find a way
Okay,
to.
look, I'm not. I get it. Like they're doing the best that they can, but that doesn't mean that those people don't have a right to be upset. And I'm not saying that the acts of I keep forgetting their names, but the girls' groups. I'm not saying that her like terrorist-based activities are justified, but I'm saying that the show tries to make you empathize with the way, like that they're behaving and like what caused them to do it. And I think there's something near the end of the show where there's some radical shift in the way that the Global Repatriation Council is acting, and like that comes as a result of the impact that that girl had on Falcon. Okay, well, honestly, this is not going anywhere because I don't think I remember the show like well enough to go into specific details. I still stand by my point of I don't think it's that bad.
To be fair, I don't.
Yeah, we're gonna end it off there. We're not diving into high school DxD. All right, guys, thanks for listening. I've been Mohammed. This has been Wasim and Navraj. Peace.